This is where we kick off with our guest this morning. We have Adeniyi Ifetayo. He's a media analyst and he joins us virtually. Thank you for joining us this morning, Adeniyi Ifetayo. Are you there?
Adeniyi Ifetayo, are you there?
Okay, we cannot hear you, so I'm sure the producer is working.
As I was also saying, if you remember...
So I can hear you now.
All right.
I can hear you now.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Adeniyi Ifetayo. It's a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, thank you. The pleasure is mine. It's just the network that's trying to find its bearing, or internet, let me say.
We're glad you're still able to join us. You know, just before you hopped on, Olumide and I were talking about this headline on the Guardian newspaper: uncertainty over minimum wage execution as state governments falter. This is not the time for state governments to be talking about faltering on the 70,000 naira minimum wage that has been signed into law, considering the current economic hardship. And one of the riders here is talking about how Zamfara and other states is still paying below 30,000 naira, and Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, has said defaulting governors will be prosecuted. I would like to ask your perspective on this, considering the fact that have we ever recorded a case of governors or governments that are not paying the current minimum wage? Has there been any sort of prosecution in time past? What will make this one different? Let's get your perspective on that.
You know, we all know that all fingers are not equal, and just like I said on this forum many times, that I think these things should be sectionalized because you can't be comparing a state as viable like Lagos with one other state, let's say Borno, for example, which they are still battling with flood, battling with insurgency, etc., etc. So expect them to earn the same income and pay the 70,000 naira. So I foresee this one in the part that is going to come up, that not all the states will be able to pay 70,000 naira. And as well, when it comes to prosecuting maybe government or governors who have not been able to pay what has been constitutionalized in the past, I'm not sure it's going to be something that we're going to see, because the only thing that I can fault them is that the government or the governor, they are not being transparent. We don't know how much each state government generates. Just few states, maybe 5 or 6 out of about 36, and FCT, that you can have access to their book to know how much they generate, how much is being expended, every month. So I think in their own case, they need to be transparent. The reason, don't just say we can't pay the minimum wage, we don't have resources. Let's see your book. Let's know how much you earn. Let's know your overhead costs. And as well, they should also do what they call, leadership is about example. You go the way, you show the way, and, lead the way. If you are saying you cannot pay other 70,000, just a meager 70,000, and you are going on with over 20 million, 30 million naira every month, so you have not shown leadership by example. So I think they should still go back to the table, especially the NLC. Call them, let's know what you are earning, what you earn for infrastructural capital project or infrastructural project and all of that. So then we know if truly you are saying the truth, that you cannot afford or you cannot pay minimum wage. If not, this thing will continue to linger on, and it will come to a point that workers, which is the engine room of any government, will be owed salary for months, even year, if care is not taken.
Just before Olumide comes on here, you said something, and you said you've been saying it on this forum, that all fingers are not equal. We cannot expect what Lagos State to pay the same amount that Zamfara State is paying. But what would that do for the economy if, for example, Zamfara is paying 20,000 naira as minimum wage, owing to their peculiarity, and Lagos is paying 100,000 naira as their minimum wage? Wouldn't we see some sort of instability and influx from one state to another? What exactly would that do for the economy? How would that help us? Would it cause more troubles? Let's get your perspective on that.
Yes, excuse me. You know that when it comes to governance, sometimes you look at the cost of living, the standard of living in a particular region or a particular state or a particular environment. It's just, I'm sure you are very familiar with those of us in diaspora. I don't say, when I mean diaspora, Mowe, Ibafo, and all of that. the cost that we pay to get a 2-bedroom apartment. Even Lagos, if you want to pay same amount, maybe you can only get a room face me and face you. You understand what I'm saying? So those are the things that is put into consideration. Consider the food now. What you buy, the yam that you can have, you can buy in, let's say, Sanfara or Boronu or tomato, all those things, where that is where the majority of those things, food items, are being produced and bring to Lagos. You can buy a basket full of, and if you want to do that in Lagos, you need to burn your purse. So that's what I'm trying to say, that those are the things that needs to be put in place. You consider so many things before you can say you want to make a law that is generality for everybody or every citizen. I think they do the same in the when it comes to education sector. When students are seeking admission, they will say there are some states that are less advantaged, so let's bring it down a bit low than what is obtainable in other states who are very viable when it comes to education. So the same thing can apply for the economy. Everything will still balance, because what you buy 2 naira in Sokoto, your 5 naira might not give you such in Lagos. So those are the things that need to be put into consideration.
All right, thank you very much. Let me divert your attention to the Vanguard newspaper, which says the National Assembly considering raising VAT to 10% by 2025. This is a document from the Vanguard. Now, before you respond to that, I'm sure, I don't know whether you've seen that viral video of Senate President Godswill Akpabio saying or referring to Nigerians that wherever you can see free food or wherever you find free food, please
take it.
Please help yourself. Is it mocking Nigerians, or what does that mean actually?
I want to believe it's not that it's mocking Nigeria. It's just saying the reality that you have got to a point that Nigerians, or some Nigerians, they are finding it difficult even to put food on their table. You know, we used to say 3 square meal. And who told you that 3 is a square? Well, so some had not even gotten 2. So he was just saying where you can have access to free meal, or like some people doing CSR. Don't put yourself high and say, no, I cannot be begging. I have a friend who is in Canada that said that when they got there, there's a place where you can go to pack some food, like a food bank. He said initially the wife, wants to show that, no, I'm first class lady, I can't be doing this. He said, my brother, I go pack them for 2 weeks as they eat them. But what I will encourage, instead of him saying that Nigeria, anywhere you see food, just go there and make yourself comfortable. I will have said that they can open a food bank in some maybe 6 geopolitical zones to start with. And you can say, oh, every week you can have maybe a bucket of gari, a bucket of rice, which is common food condiment or commodity that we eat, that that Nigerians eat. So I think you should have said that rather than saying that anywhere you see food, because there's food in my house, do you know how many people I want to cater for? And somebody who said he wants to come and, But anyway, it's not as if he's mocking. He's just saying the reality in a humorous way, that things are getting tough and we need to tighten our belts.
Right.
Okay, the first question was actually National Assembly considering raising VAT to 10% by 2025. How would this even benefit Nigerians?
No, not benefit Nigeria. Yeah, come on. You can't add insult to injury. I'm sure they see, sometimes they are not being sensitive to some of these things that is happening because they have it on their own. You raised an issue and said that maybe you want to reduce their salary. I'm sure that government agency is not going to find it likely. So saying that you want to increase VAT to, in fact, I think it's this time they should even declare some VAT holidays, some tax holiday to make it bearable for Nigerians, especially employers of labor, so that that one can ripple down to their workers, to their staff, so to say. But increasing the VAT is not easy. It's when there is so much money in the circulation, that's when you increase VAT, that's when you increase taxes, so that you want to reduce or minimize money in the circulation. But when Nigerians are going through tough time, you still want to, unless you want to say that the rich will pay more tax and the masses will pay lesser tax and help VAT, that is understandable. But saying he's going to implement across board, that is showing that they are not feeling what Nigeria is feeling.
You know, one of the things Nigerians are feeling that is biting so hard, affecting all of us, is petrol. In fact, away from the price, there's even scarcity. Because when petrol price goes up, every other thing goes up. It's like it has a ripple effect. Now, the Vanguard newspaper has a headline that says, Federal government resolves NNPCL and marketers' disputes, just as NNPCL refunds 15 billion naira to marketers after DSS intervention. We know this story came up, I think last week or last 2 weeks, where there was a conversation about some money being held by the NNPCL. But after the intervention of DSS, we saw that they returned that money back to marketers. And also the Punch newspaper puts it this way, that independent marketers and NNPCL set for negotiation as we are looking at talks between Dangote and Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, between Tuesday and Wednesday to finalize the agreement on the cost and lifting of petrol. Now, if we have this conversation between Ipman and Dangote Refinery and it goes smoothly and they're able to set a price, what have you, are we going to see a smooth transition in this petrol situation? What I mean is there a possibility of a reduction in the cost of petrol right now if independent marketers get to lift it directly from Dangote away from NNPCL? Would we see some sort of stability, or things will only get worse, or there's going to be some sort of conflict of interest in NNPCL, independent marketers, and Dangote?
Yeah, I see that it's going to crash the price a little. Why I said that was because NNPC now is a corporate organization to make profit, a little bit profit. It's no longer a government agency because it's been deregulated and all of that. So now what NNPC did initially was, because the first set of crude oil that was sold to Dangote was done, the transaction was done in dollars.
Yeah.
So I'm sure by this month end, that refined crude product will have been exhausted. And because NNPC was the only one that can lift refined crude oil from Dangote. So meeting with the marketers now for them to lift directly, that cost of the middleman will be taken out, and it can be, monitored that, their profit margin should not be, I think they said, between 1 naira to 5 naira, as the case may be. So removing all those middleman, all those bureaucracy, I'm sure it's going to drive down the price a bit. And this set of new crude oil that's being sold to Dangote, I'm sure, based on what they said, I think it was done in naira. So that one alone will reduce 40% of forex, looking for forex to buy petroleum product or to lift petroleum product from Dangote. So these are the things that are considered a bottleneck, that Nigeria is paying so much for the refined product that they even have. So going forward, I see a situation in the net, like I told someone yesterday, in the next 3 months or thereabouts, this competition is going to drag down the price, and Nigerian will be the beneficiary of it all. Because just like you said, whenever petroleum prices goes up, every commodity, just follow the trend. So if it goes down, let's just pray that people are not greedy to remain constant, rather than, blend with it and reduce the price.
So are you trying to give some sort of certainty and surety that come to 3 months' time, if the independent marketers can't successfully, have this agreement with Dangote, we'll see a reduction in the price of oil? From your analysis, is that some sort of surety and certainty that you're trying to give?
Yes, because the thing will not be done in secrecy. Initially, this one we said it took me A, B, C, D to import or to lift these refined products from foreign country, but now you have it here. So it reduced cost of transportation, it reduced cost of shipping, it reduced cost of personnel, reduce so many costs. So by the time they take off all those things, I'm sure it will drag down the price a little bit. Just like I said, there will also be, out of the 12, one person or one marketer will still be Judas Iscariot to be greedy about the old stuff. So, but definitely majority, 70%, will benefit of crashing of petroleum pump price.
All right.
Yes, I'm very certain.
All right, shortly before we go in less than a minute, let's look at the Daily Trust newspaper. Lago Dam, high-risk states brace for flood. We have Borno that's still battling with flood. We have Taraba and others. And the government have asked residents to relocate. So my question is, where is government asking residents to relocate to? And how will these states that are at high risk, especially Borno, face another Lago Dam, or this present Lago Dam that has been opened?
Yeah, it's just a pity that the government will just make a pronouncement. In other climb in Western world, before they will ask you to relocate, there are some. I think we have a NEMA. I'm not sure they are doing their job, because government, you don't wait until something will happen before you begin to put measures in place. These are the things that there should be some sort of camping or warehouse or some last set of construction that in case of emergency, at least we can put our people here temporarily. But telling them to relocate where to where and all of that. So I'm not sure it's so sensitive on their part, but I'm just feeling that they just want to justify and say, well, we told people to relocate, they did not listen and all of that. Where are they going to? I know that should be the question. And that is the reason why even the journalists, the media should be asking some of these agencies, some of this government, you are asking people to relocate to where? Because I don't know, I'm not the government, and I'm not sure whether there's a follow-up on that, oh, we have provided this place for them. Please, if you're in this area or you are this location, relocate and move, because what is coming is bigger than what we saw before. But it's just a pity that it's Nigeria that provide everything for them, even to security, health and all of that. But it's just a pity. This is where we find ourselves. I just pray that somebody comes to their succor.
Right, and we hope that the authorities in charge do the right thing. This is a safe place to land this morning. Thank you so much for joining us, Adeniyi Ifetayo, and for sharing your thoughts on all these headlines. It's been very insightful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day.